Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Aquarius Convos. I'm the host, Quentin Rashad. And here, as you all know, I like to bring every walk of life to prove that we all somehow have this deep connection without actually having this physical connection. So today, I have this dope guest that I met 2021 by the name of Alicia Marie. Let's give it for Alicia Marie.
Here?
Yes. Met Alicia Marie probably 2021, I think it was 2021, June-ish area. Was on Instagram looking for some professional people to be in a video because I don't be want to just DM anybody. It was what was the model page again?
Raquel Chanel.
Raquel Chanel. Does she still have the model page?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they doing big things now. Yeah.
Was that the one of the show?
Yeah.
Super dope vibe, yo. So I met DM'd from there. Then Alicia hit me up. Went through the right way. I feel like went through, hey, how much you charge? Didn't try to do no freebies. We met. First meetup was at Cracker Barrel, which is fire.
Yeah.
And Alicia was mad cool. Like, I thought from the photos, I thought she was gonna be like cocky. I'm like, damn, I hope she, because you know in the South, people that's attractive in a way, they have these weird shits going on. So I was kind of like, all right, let me see how cool she'll be. So she was super cool, super down to earth. And from there, we just went off. We did a video, and she told me she made music. So I was with a girl at the time, so we listened to music. Music was crazy. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So she was like, I think you should really start producing this, girl. And I'm like, well, let me see then. From there, I sent Alicia some beats. She sent me back voice memos. And it was like literally what I've been looking for. Like, I think every producer has that yo moment. Like, this is some gas, right? So with that being said, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're both Aquariuses, by the way. January 25th.
Gang.
Happy belated, by the way.
Yes, happy belated to you, bro.
Yes, I turned 30.
Older, but we aging like fine wine out this mug.
So we happy belated. So with that being said, let everybody know like who you are, like, you know, based on like what led you all the way to this very point, sitting in that chair right there.
That's a long.
Well, no, in a short version, like artist-wise, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm Alicia Marie. I rap and I sing. I come from primarily like spoken poetry background.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how I started everything performance-wise. But, you know, I've just been like writing and creating my whole life and using it really as like a means just to kind of like let go and really started taking this serious, going on about 2 yees now.
Okay.
And we lit. I'm happy to be here.
And now she's right here. So when you say taking it serious, because you showed me records when you was, I think it was 16. You were 16. So you always like just the cadences. Has it always been there, like in the back of your mind? Like, how did it start off?
Yeah, I think honestly, like my biggest issue is like my mental health has always kind of gotten in my way.
Okay.
I always like, even back when I was like a teenager and stuff, I had a lot of like dope opportunities. I traveled a lot, performed a lot. I was even nominated for a Carolina Music Award when I was 17. And honestly, like if I had really focused, I probably would have been up out of here at that time. But personally, I feel like I probably would have been like one of those child star failures. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I would have like made it and like got super drunk and got found on a street corner somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it would have been a hot mess. And so, so I kind of just let a lot of those things get in the way, but it was always like the vision for me. And then when I got pregnant, it was just kind of like, okay, let me stop chasing something that might not happen.
You got pregnant when?
I was 19.
19, so this was
2000.
10 years ago, basically.
Yeah.
How old are you? You were 20?
I'm 29, but I would, about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, because my baby, oh my God, my baby's going to be 9
years.
Yes,
9 years, that's crazy.
Ah!
Yeah. Him and Christian the same age, which is crazy.
Bro.
Wow.
I don't like it.
You had the child. How long was the break from there?
The whole time.
Okay, no,
I'm not. I'm lying. I went to a couple like poetry events within that time.
Oh, because that's what I was about to aim at.
Yeah, I went to a couple of poetry events because I brought him with me to some
As a
baby. And like I was like a toddler and stuff. Like he would come, but it was very sporadic. It was like one of those like I was like the shooting star. Like I would show up and Muzz was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're here," and then I wouldn't show up again for like a year. And like you know what I mean? It was just kind of like one of those things. I would just get lost in work or whatever. But I always wrote the whole time. But I never really thought, just as like a therapeutic kind of thing. Like I would just make up songs or like just write poems just because. But I never really considered like I'm really going to chase this as like my career path for real.
Until recently.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you mentioned the mental health part. Like, does that play a role into you saying, all right, let me make this serious?
Yeah, I think I still deal with it now.
Yeah.
I like still very much like have issues where like I can only like tolerate so much, and then I'm like kind of like falling back, but then like I feel like I've made a stance in a way that like I wasn't prepared to make. And when
what was the stance?
Just like as an artist, I was not like necessarily prepared to like just like drop music and like everybody fuck with me.
Okay.
Like I was just not like I kind of just did it for like self.
Cause you dropped Street Renaissance. This was 2021 or 2020?
2021.
Okay. Engineered by Major Green, right?
Engineered by Major Green.
So he did, that's what I'm saying. He did the whole project. Yeah. Shout out to engineers.
Shout out to Major.
So all right. Insane. So before that moment. Because, you know, we're doing a Marvel, like, you know what I'm saying? So before that moment, because I don't think that it ever leaves you when it's a gift. Mm-hmm. I think it leaves you when it's an opportunity. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if it's a gift, it's there, right? So, clearly, with me listening to Street Renaissance, which I'm learning, I didn't even know. I'm thinking the whole time you was doing something. Boom. So, you dropped this, right? Let's go 2019. Mm-hmm. Before that moment, and you decided to hit Major up, you decided to do this. What was you going through mentally, spiritually to be like? Because you got that song, what would you do if Speechless, right? Mm-hmm. So that to me has some pain in it, like just vocally sound. Did you put whatever the 9-7 years was into like, let me drop this? Because it was the Street Renaissance. It had the rose. The rose was black, which I was like, okay, this is interesting. It's not a normal color rose. Mm-hmm. Black can insinuate funerals, all this other stuff. So like what was you going through, and then what led you to let me do this black rose at this particular album? Like, why not do a red rose?
I think the rose was red, but the whole background was black pavement.
Was black. So wait, is the rose red or black?
Red, but it's very dark.
It is dark.
It's very dark.
I'm kind of colorblind, by the way.
No, you good.
But it is a black. You got that black background to it.
Yeah, no. Okay. Honestly, that project was dropped really off of like one like chunk of like a few years of pain. Not even like the whole like.
Okay.
I feel like I'm pretty open about the fact that Speechless, like I wrote Speechless in the backseat of my car. I was homeless for 2020. I was, going through like a crazy trial, like having to be a part of like some madness behind, just life is life, and things happen and that that we can't control, and it just one thing leads to another. And long story short, I had been on my own since I was 17 and worked my way up to like a very good job, like very nice crib, all of that kind of stuff.
I remember you was telling me this.
And I just like behind like having to deal with everything I was going through, I lost everything 3 times. I went through 3 cribs in a year and lost all the jobs, like the good jobs that I had, lost the best job I had, then went to another job that was cool, but lost that one too. Then had to like scramble for like little bullshit jobs. Then by the time I lost the 3rd crib, it was like pretty much over. Like I just knew it was up. Like I had no more savings left. Like I couldn't do anything.
And this is before you dropping the project.
This was before I was dropping the project, but that's when I really ended up going crazy hard into writing because it was like the only way that I could like remain sane. I was like, I felt like nobody understood me. I felt like I was like going in like crazy. Then, you know, for that period of time, I actually had to separate myself from my son. And he had to live with my mother because I just refused to have him like going crib to crib with me. And
how long did this part last?
That was like a year and a half.
But did you see him?
Yeah, I saw him, but he was not with me. And you have to understand, I'm a very prideful person.
Yeah,
I did everything with my child, and so when I had to do that, it was like I felt like so much less of a person. And so it was like one of those things, like the like writing and listening to beats and kind of like drowning in that was like the only way that I would like not go insane by myself. Like when I sat with myself, it just felt wrong every time because like my son was not there. You know what I mean? And so it was just like, it just became like this craziness. So I ended up using it to cope. And then, it never really ended up being anything that I still considered to use as like a real thing. But then Exhale, who's been my friend for a lot of years, started really pursuing stuff and going to shows. And so periodically throughout that time, I would go to shows that she was performing at. And I would see people that like I knew from back when I was like a teenager and stuff performing, or like people who were like asking when I was going to do stuff again and whatever. And kind of like within being in all of that, and like meeting engineers and producers and like people who were kind of interested in me. I was going to go there.
How did you meet Major in between this?
Dasan, actually, Ahanu.
Shout out to Dasan.
He's incredible. Very dope, yeah. I've known him since I was a kid.
Okay.
Through poetry and stuff. And so as I was kind of just going to like just random studios, just kind of like experimenting with shit just because, I decided that I wanted to actually like record, but it had been so many years since I actually took anything serious. Like the last person I ever recorded with was Skaz Digga. Okay. And that's when he was on Main Street in Durham, like not touring.
That Flavor Fruit dude?
Yeah, okay, Flavor Fruit. Yeah.
And I was about to ask you at what point did you be like, all right, because it's not normal for an artist to like, let me record the entire joint, right? What was it that Major brought to you with the pain you already had, with the bullshit you went through? What was the glue that Major set for you to be like, all right, let's do the whole project?
I think Exhale was recording out there for a little bit. Dasan had recommended him. I had hit him up a couple times for that. But then when she was recording out there, I think I went through with her a couple times. Okay. I really liked the equipment. I liked the way everything sounded. I'm like a quality, like,
yeah, it did.
Freak.
Because I didn't know he engineered that album.
Yeah. And so I ended up just doing a session one day. I think I split a session one day with like X and just like randomly recorded some shit just because and just to do it, just to have something to listen to and whatever. And I just kind of like, it kind of was over after that.
You
like
heard it, you in the car.
I heard it and I was just kind of like, okay. And then even after I did that, I think I recorded a couple other places just because. And I was like, nobody sound like Major made me sound.
Nobody.
And then after after I decided that, it was pretty much up and,
Up and up. I like that because from me knowing you, by the way, I do produce like a lot of her work.
Yes.
From me working with you, what I like about working with you is that it's like no work. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times when you meet an artist, like you and Micah, like when I send y'all beats, like dudes can tell you, like as soon as I send you beats and send Micah beats, I'm thinking like, man, y'all hit me back with a voice, and I'm like, damn, I didn't hear this. So that's what makes me look at you as a really good artist, is that you actually appreciate the actual time that somebody's sending. You send the beat and you listen to it, but then you mentioned something to me that plays a role into my mental health. You was like, yo, I cannot, what did you see? I can't figure the beat. What you were saying is like, you make me, I gotta really sit down.
It's a challenge.
And what's crazy is I didn't realize that, but you and Micah ride it. Y'all don't like, well, Juice just hit me up recently for some beats. He didn't hit me. I send Juice beats, right? Mm-hmm. He hit me up, he's writing something. And I was like asking him, yo, why you? He like, no, don't ask me for no fucking, don't ask me, blase. And I was like, I do gotta give people time because these beats are not normal beats. Like I had to accept that, right?
They're like, you gotta dissect them.
You gotta dissect them, right? So that does play a role into me because I didn't have a lot of praise to make music. Like I always was different, right? Mm-hmm. My mom was dating, I'm from Durham. She was dating street niggas. So, you know what I'm saying? So I would show the beats, and they at the time I think T.I. was popping. These were like 2003, 4. It was hood on 101, right? But I was making Britney Spears type shit. So like at the time, they was like, man, this don't sound, this blah blah blah. So it created this space for me to be like, this ain't it, right? But I had a group of friends in high school that they could hear it, and they was really down for it. And they was like, keep going, which plays a role, y'all. Just whoever's watching, kids, whatever. Your social circle will play the biggest role into like you keep going, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. Like I was nervous because I know it's different, but then when you send me back the beats and I'm like, and I was just listening to stuff the other day, I'm like, no one, and I told you this, I'm like, no one, I will not be able to find anyone to ride this like this. And I'm like, I think that's what Timbaland had with Missy. That's what Eminem had with Dr. Dre. That's what J. Cole got with just, I think J. Cole works with a lot of his own stuff, but there's a beauty in that. But it does play a role into the mental health side of it, and then it plays this role into like, how do we, because then you got to work on how we gonna get it, because I didn't think what we went through was gonna go through, because I was so obsessed with like, man, we got to get this music out of here, right?
Yeah.
And so there was a period of time where me and Alicia separated, because on my end I became super obsessed with like, we got to do this, and I became like the sound, because you become addicted to it working.
Right.
It became addicted to she's sending this, but then I never thought about like, okay, what's she going through? Because I don't have a kid, right? I got hella time, but you got a kid, you got your life. You told me intimate things about the house situation, all these other stuff, and then I'm like, damn. Then when we did separate, I thought for a long time. I had so many conversations. I'm like, this is where I fucked up at. I did not understand you like as the entire person, because you sent me this text message like, yo, Q, I'm an artist, and I'm looking at it like, yo, the fuck she's saying that for? Like, but because like, when somebody works on your music, you sit back, like it affects you. Like every word is like slash, and I'm like, damn, like, am I doing something that does not allow this person to see that I see them? And I'm like, I think I am. So with this convo, what we're having now, what would you give to the artists working with the producers, the Timbalands? Because I feel like me and you have a Timbaland Missy vibe. Like but like, where did I go wrong? And like, and what do you feel? And what would you pass to a producer? Because I think the same thing low key happened to Gorilla and that dude. And a lot of people don't talk about that, like, and Jeezy with Red, Shorty Red, like they don't have these convos of like, yo, because nobody wants to say, oh, it wasn't my fault. But as a producer, I can say, yo, I became obsessed like with the work that we was having.
Yeah.
So what would you pass down? Like, what do you feel like went left for you? Because the mental health part is deep, and you always was big on that. So what would you say with that?
I think it definitely depends on the relationship. Like I feel like we're able to have like moments like that and like be able to reconnect because like the intentions have always been pure. You know what I mean? Like I was never trying to fuck you over. You were never trying to fuck me over. Nah. We were never trying to like sneak or shade each other or anything like that. So I think that makes a huge difference, and it makes it a lot different than a lot of relationships between producers and artists, because I don't feel like the respect level necessarily
was there from the jump.
Right.
Yo, rewind that. Like, say that again. I actually like what you just said. There was no fuck shit from the jump.
Right. It was literally just like, I really thought you were dope and you really thought I was dope, and we just like started making dope shit, and next thing you know, we just like friends, and we just like, you know what I mean? Like exactly, shit was just like, it was just kind of like, you know what I mean? One thing after another. And I think that that's how things go when it's like authentic, when it's genuine, when you just like meet somebody who's like creative and can see you on a creative note that a lot of other people can't, or you know what I mean, can peep certain things or whatever, or inspire you, or you know what I mean, and that just like it automatically makes you end up, you know, fucking with each other, because it's just like, this is dope. It's like we create fucking like, you know what I mean, and then it was cool, you know what I mean. I feel like what it is that I become just easily overwhelmed with shit. And what it was like, and this is what I did with like poetry too, low key, was like when shit became like heavy on me, when it became like, oh, we need you to start writing for this and appearing for this and looking like this and not doing this here because if anybody sees you, it might look like that. And like when I started realizing like, bro, like people are really like, people are really looking to me for like, you know, shit to really happen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know what I mean? I'm settling, you know, like turmoil within my own head and heart that, you know what I mean, has absolutely nothing to do with none of the music or anything. And just like feeling like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy. Like I even had a conversation with a girl last night who was like, bro, I've been a fan of you since forever. Like you just don't even understand how much you inspire me. And I was just like, that's so dope to hear because honestly, like when you've gone through certain levels of things and certain waves in your brain work certain ways and you just like, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I know what I'm worth. But I feel like I am consistently reminding myself of that.
But is that healthy though? To have to keep being
not at all. But it's one of those things where like I'm still learning how to like
not have to remind
not have to do that. But it's like literally that's like just how my brain goes.
Would you?
And so I get overwhelmed. Like I get like I'm like, oh my God, like I don't be thinking nobody is watching me or paying attention.
Yeah.
And then once I know everyone is watching me, I'm like, oh shit. Like everyone, you know what I mean? Like it just becomes like, and so like I'm just learning like people like really fuck with me and like, you know what I mean? And this is like a real thing and like I can just like be me and like my tribe is gonna find me and my people
okay, right, yo, the tribe. That's what I was gonna go to. Do you think the experience of having people around you that really fucks with you matter? Because like I don't think anxiety and depression and mental health, nobody wants to talk about this, but it's nurtured into you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody put it there. And that's and there's a chain of events from all of the variables of people that can admit that probably don't want to admit this, but somebody put that in you. But it doesn't give an excuse for you to like go back and cuss them out. But so if they put it in you, I don't think that it leaves.
Well, that's the fucked up part.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's like you don't ask for it to happen, and then it does, and once it's over, it's over.
And then you see it from a point of view of like what we went through, because I think what me and you went through was a trigger for me in a sense of like I felt like I wasn't being heard. Right.
Yeah. And I think we both felt like that
simultaneously.
In like the same type of way over different things. You know what I mean? Life, exactly. But like I think like the feeling that we both had was like pretty much the same. Yeah. But it was over like two different like aspects and like it was just like, you know what I mean? But I think we were essentially like on the same shit the whole time.
I think with me and you, we're both like we come from that joint of like, so I don't know, did you have a lot of parental family support with this music? Or did you find yourself like, I'm gonna do this by myself? Because that's what happened to me. Like, I had to listen. I begged people to teach me how to make beats. Nobody would show me. My mom. I'm not trying to play my mom. You know, my dad. I got into beats because my mom friend who passed, R.P. James Carroll, no fingers. I mean, he had fingers, but he had no fingertips. Was making beats. 5 years old, watching this, and I became obsessed with it from just being around my mom. And as a kid, I'm thinking, you're gonna show me this. Because I'm having an interest, like just like if your son wants, and like you didn't call me, I want to buy him this one or that. There's an interest there, right? But it's something about back in the day, the interest wasn't there. I don't know if it's social media, it was because of social media, but the interest I had, it wasn't there, and I had to beg people and force them. By the time I figured, like I was literally making beats. At least I'm not making this up. I would have 2 tape recorders in the house. This is a true story. I would have a keyboard, right, and then my homeboy would have a keyboard. We were press record on the tape recorder. Do. Stop right there. I'm like, all right, we gotta record the drums, right? So we'll take that same tape and put another tape in the recorder, play that tape with the melody and record to the other tape as the beat. Crazy. We didn't have to do that, right? It was fire, but we didn't. And as I now know how to make music, I'm like, why did I have to go through all that when somebody should have showed me? And I think that when me and you went through there, I was like, I finally got something, and some ego kicked in because I was like, well, which I'm learning is the stuff that I did with you, the people, the person you met, I did it out of love. But when it's somehow when you get upset and when you're not gaining that momentum, you start to think about it like, why would this person do this to me? And after all the stuff we did, and I learned a valuable lesson, like, you did that because you really do love this girl and you really want her to win. That has nothing to do with it, right? That's when that's why I like what we went through, because it showed me, all right, there's no ego. And then when I saw you at the show, I was so nervous. I was like, oh shit, what do I say? And then you hugged me. You was like, oh, always like you, nigga. And I was like, that's us, nigga. Like, yeah, that's. But it did show me like, man, you tripping. You know what I'm saying? You overthinking. Like, this person fuck with you. They made a decision that you felt strange because he hit me R&B. Man, it was 5 years ago, nigga. And he walked off, right? I don't think I told you that. Yo, he walked up to me and said that he was like, it was 5 years ago, nigga.
I'm trying to tell you, when I sat with them, like, the first thing I said was like, I just want to know if I'm gonna be able to still work with Quentin Major. And like,
yo, you confirm that? Who? What's the short girl name that do the modeling? The modeling girl, the modeling page, the short chick. Raquel said it was designed for me to meet you. Alicia bring you up all the time.
I do.
I was like, you know what I'm saying? So it changed. I'm like, damn, yo, I felt so bad. Like, man, I always tell myself, like, yo, you fucked up, bro. I tell myself this. I'm like, you fucked up. Like, you really should have approached this from a different viewpoint. I got trust issues. I think
I think too, though, like, my communication when it comes to like my actual emotions is ass. Like, and
me receiving it is ass.
But it was like one of those things where like I could have did better about like trying to like even like give you a bare minimum kind of like, you know what I mean? And I'm the type where like I would literally hide the fuck out in a cave for like 2 weeks and pop back up like, hey.
You know what it was? And from there, because we create such good music, it's like y'all, man, I'm gonna play a record in about a minute. We don't just make music. I think me and Alicia really created a sound. So from there, I personalized, because she taught me what personalize. You personalizing shit. I'm like, what is? I've never heard of this word. So
no, and you gotta make me feel like, damn, like, am I an asshole? Because you be like, you just don't give a fuck about anything. You know, it's just like, nah, like.
I know I was, and I'm like, damn. I personalized how good the sound was, and I felt that because we accomplished something that good, I am able to be the person that you can talk to. Because I'm not just making this music for you, right? Remember I told you, this is asset for your son. Like, this
but that's why I always fucked with you so hard, because I knew that like you genuinely like you want to win, but you really want me to win too. Like it was like, you know what I mean? Like, I really believe you when you tell me like, you know what I mean? You want like good things to happen, like, you know what I mean? Through all of this. And so like, that was really just why, you know what I mean? Even when I felt like he was tripping and stuff, I was still, you know what I mean? Trying to like, you know, but hell yeah, bro.
And y'all, with that being said, y'all got to check out this new record that Alicia Marie definitely wrote, arranged. All I did was give it a beat, produced it. Engineered by Major Green, y'all. Here's Hebi Jibi's Fire.
These motherfuckers snitchy. They come around me tryna speak and I get Hebi Jibis. Act like they wanna get to know me, but they wanna be me. They want these shoes but try to walk and they could never fit them. Sheesh. Hit them with the stitch cause they sick. Always wanna move they lips so low from a bitch like I just hit a lick. Someone call the Amber Hole cause they napping on a kid. Believe it when they tell you what I get, I'ma give. I'm the hero and the villain, don't be confused. Pop up one time, better come bulletproof. Cause when I say okay, they gon' light the fuse. Boom. Come around me tryna speak and I get Hebi Jibis. Act like they wanna get to know me, but they wanna be me. They want these shoes but try to walk and they could never fit them. Sheesh. jump high if you feel like an amphibian. Shell up in my loan and I'ma get my fucking trimming in. Everybody got a problem, don't nobody gotta move. How we beefing and you speaking every time I see you. Dose, catch you when you see the shit through. I could be beside you in the dark, I won't miss you. They gon' try to figure who did it like Clue. Was it the candlestick in the ballroom or the AK in the backyard? Did she swing the wrench in the garage? Did she do the shit with a fucking car? Oh my god, they try to get a bitch to get to the source, but they not me, so the recipe gon' forever be sitting kinda hard. That shit up in my lawn so they know what it is. Snakes up in my grass, I cut them off by the head and post that shit up in my lawn so they know what it is. These motherfuckers snitchy, they come around me tryna speak and I get heebie jibis. Act like they wanna get to know me, but they wanna be me. They want these shoes but try to work and they could never fit them. Sheesh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That was Hebi Jibi's. Produced by your boy Quentin Rashad, written and arranged by Alicia Marie. And who? What's this? I don't want to mess this video name up. The guy that shot it. Guy called Quest.
Guy called Quest.
Me and Quest went to Southern High School together. Actually, he was in the band, so that's crazy.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So y'all, that video was that we actually shot that video here, which was crazy.
Yeah.
At the house. That was a really dope experience. That showed me that we was gonna work well together because. I got the food. She was like getting everything done with the makeup, but we shot that whole video here. Niggas shot the dams in the backyard. Niggas got fires and eating fire and shit. That shit was crazy though.
Quest blew my mind on that one. I definitely didn't even know that you could turn an apartment into a damn home movie.
Yeah, he set the whole room up, like the whole room.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yo, what inspired you to write that though? Because it had a scary. I mean, the beat was kind of scary in a sense. Like it was like, I don't know what made me do that, but like, what made you be like, I'm about to just go write about Hebi Jibi? I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, low key. So behind all of like the crazy shit that I told you that I was going through, where like, you know, you hit your lows and stuff like that, and there'll be a lot of people sometimes that will witness you hit these lows that also saw you though on your highs, and try to act like once you hit your lows that you was never at your highs or that they never knew about those highs.
Preach.
And so when you kind of get yourself back together after a point that people think you're never going to come back from, I just had a lot of people for a period of time that like came up with some wild shit about me, bro.
Wow.
I've heard it all about me and how I've come up and how I've gotten my things and how, you know what I mean, and how I live my life and how I parent, and I've heard it all. And I was going through like a period of time where that was just like hitting heavy, and a lot of people were just being like real. I call it on like that groupie shit because like, bitch, why like. That's weird. Do you love me or no? Like I just
I feel like when somebody
weird.
when they talk about it, they love you.
Yes, because it's like I've never. Well, first, I just think it takes a very special kind of person to wake up one day and just like create a story about a person and then like go tell other people. You know what I mean? Like that takes a very special kind of individual.
How do you stay away from people like that? Like who would you rely on to help you give you advice about staying away from a person like that? That's deep.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I'm probably like more antisocial than I should be. I probably don't give enough people a chance. That is probably like good people like to be in my corner because I've just been so tainted by people. Or like I think that my problem is I've been through so many hurtful and crazy situations that I see through people too much. And sometimes I see more of them than they see of them. And I can kind of understand and rationalize why the
You do
fuck
got
they're
them
doing
piercing ass
something.
eyes, yeah.
I can just get it. Like, I can just be like, oh, like, you did this and this and this, so this kind of makes sense. But, like, I'll get it more than they'll get it. So it won't really fucking matter. Like, they'll continue to be, like, a horrible human being, even though I'm like, oh, no, they're going to figure it out one day. They're just hurt because this, and that. You know what I mean? Like, I just be getting it. You know what I mean? But it's just, like, people just be lost in the sauce and in denial. And it just makes, like, for, like, hardened, mean people, and like it just like I don't know.
But have you ever had an opportunity to where you was around individuals that wasn't like that?
Yeah, that were like not sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, because in this music shit, damn near everybody
is.
So like,
and damn near everybody is.
So
like,
how do you fuck
weird.
with the people that's not sneaky? Do you hit them up? Do you like, because like you got to get your energy source from somewhere? Like,
I think honestly though, you really have to learn to really love yourself on a real note in this type of time, because there's just so many things like that you really have to just kind of reserve in your heart and your mind until like you feel like you're ready to kind of like share when you get into stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because energy is so like imperative. And like everything can alter. Like even like my best friend, we've been best friends since we was 8 years old out this bitch. This motherfucker will get a role or an audition for some shit, and she'll be like, look, I got something really good that I think is in the works. I'm not going to tell you nothing about it until I feel like it's more solidified. She knows that all I'm going to do is wish best for her. But she also understands that energy, period, is so sensitive on your dreams and your manifestations and all of that kind of stuff. And so it just kind of like, it honestly ends up being like, you have to kind of accept it when you do stuff like this. You have to love yourself enough to understand that there are a lot of parts that you're going to have to handle alone and internalize and kind of like, you know what I mean? Like carry and have confidence in, and when the time is right, share and all of that kind of stuff. But like needing people in a field like this is kind of dangerous.
I mean, kind of. I feel like
it's extremely dangerous because it's one of those things where it's just like you don't want to give anybody too much power, because power and money and
that's power and contracts
changes a lot of people. You can ride with somebody through 18 different fucking instances in life, and that 19th one, they're gonna show you that they wasn't who you thought they was for you, or you know what I mean, or not even that deep, but just understanding, okay, this is my boundary with that person. Like I can deal with you on this, and I can deal with you on that, and I can deal with you on this, but for this and this, we gonna reconvene with all of that.
I was about to say with boundaries though, how deep down the rabbit hole can you go with boundaries though? Because like you're saying, if the person out of 18 moments, the 19th they show you, can you have a boundary at this point?
I mean, I think it depends on what boundary was crossed and how badly. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not crossing a boundary bad though.
Crossing a boundary can be bad, but sometimes crossing a boundary can be eye-opening. Sometimes you need somebody to cross a boundary because you have to understand a hard truth that nobody would have told you unless somebody else crossed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need the boundary crossed. But sometimes the boundary cross can completely damage you on levels. You know what I mean? Like,
depends,
it's levels.
There's levels to it.
Mm-hmm.
So boundaries have levels.
Definitely.
So what would you, as a single mother who is raising a son and making music, how do you find yourself tapping into those boundaries? Because you have a dating life. I mean, people date, it's a human interaction. Do you find yourself, because with music you can find yourself lonely, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So do you find yourself allowing certain things to cross? Because we, as social media, we're like, yo, I'm staying with my boundary, nigga. But in reality, I've let people cross my boundaries.
Oh yeah.
Have you peeped that? Like,
yeah.
so like, how do you find yourself like, let me catch myself, I allowed this to happen? How do you fix that, or can a person fix it once you allow it to go on for so long?
I mean, I think you can definitely fix anything you want to fix if you want to fix it bad enough.
That's a song in itself.
I mean, honestly, I think you really can. It's just like about how genuine you are about it and how like reasonable the other person is, because people can be evil, you know what I mean, and
For no reason.
want you to prove yourself in certain type times, but never have any intention of like
Never.
letting it go or forgiving you, or you know what I mean. And
That's why I ask so many
that
questions.
can be scary.
I ask a lot of. I feel like the dope thing about an Aquarius, and I tell everybody this, is that you're leaving with perspectives you didn't know existed, and second, that you didn't know you needed.
Yeah.
Because I question, like, if a girl like me, I ask them, why do you like me?
Yeah.
What have you like this one girl I was cool with, I was just straight up asking her, like, do you even know why? And she respectfully, was saying regular stuff, but I'm like, why though?
Yeah.
And that to me is another boundary I've made, is like, be around people that know why.
Yeah. Or sometimes, one of the most frequent kind of responses that I get is how I make the other person feel.
Hold on, break it down, rewind it.
So like sometimes they'll be like, oh, well, you make me feel good about myself. Or you make me feel, you know what I mean? Or you make me feel strong, or you make me feel like,
is that healthy?
You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, cool. I'm glad I make you feel like that I'm glad. But what do you like about me?
Right.
And so
what happens when I don't do this no more?
And well, the thing is just like, do you only keep me around to gas yourself? Do you only keep me around to feed your ego? Or do you actually like something about me as a person? Or do you just keep me around to remind yourself how dope you are?
That's why sex is a weapon.
It's crazy.
Because a person, when you allow a person in to that level of you, you don't really think it's that deep, but that access of you allowing them to enter you, or you enter into that person, it's an addiction. And the addiction is, like you saying, I feel better with you. And I'm like, some people was like, nah, that's good. But I'm like, you should do that for yourself. Because what happens if this person passes away? I was watching, spoiler, by the way. I was watching, are you into the Ant-Man Marvel shit?
Yeah, I've seen him.
Okay. You seen a new one?
No.
I'm gonna say it anyway.
Okay.
But I was watching Ant-Man. I was watching Ant-Man. I'm sorry through the lens. I was watching Ant-Man, right? And so I was having this conversation with this girl. I said that movie taught me something about attachment and the danger of it. So Kang the Conqueror was like, he had Ant-Man and his daughter. And so he needed Ant-Man to fix this joint for him to travel through the multiverse. Mm-hmm. He's looking at him. He's like, I need this from you. And Ant-Man is like, I ain't doing shit. And he went to his daughter and was like, I'll kill her. And Ant-Man felt so crazy. He's like, no, don't kill my daughter. And I was telling my friend, I was like, you know what's crazy? I said, that scene is so deep to me, because we get so attached to us as beings over the reality of the purpose of us being alive. Because if Ant-Man allowing his daughter to die, as crazy as it sounds, we're not talking about a regular situation. We're talking about a man who saved 500 million people to turn to dust, right? And went back in time to find them. If he could develop the sacrifice of like, yo, you gotta go, right? Because you're my daughter, I'm imagining, could Kane stop him? And I think that's the thing with artists. Like, as artists, we are the purpose. Like, we drive the purpose, right? But you have to be careful with the attachment you have with individuals. Which is why I learned with me in your situation is like, I have to step away from this attachment, no matter how good it is. The purpose is to release this music and make sure people not killing themselves, to release this music, to make sure people, because we're battling all of this mental health, right? But we have the power to put it out, and we're essentially like the Avengers. But what happens when, just give an example, like if I have a son and he's always going to prison and he's always going to jail and I'm always leaving to bail him out, right? That's not healthy. If you put yourself here, you got to stay there. Yeah. Because because now this is fucking up the timeline of my purpose. And that's why when I was watching the movie, I was like, yo, these villains, they always get them with them. They take them away from their purpose. Thor purpose is like, oh, let me go fight this. Let me go win. And if you notice, that's how they lose to these villains. Is the villain is like, I know the purpose. I'm here to take over and kill you. Yeah. So let me fuck with you by going to kill your brother. And let me grab his neck. But what happens if these heroes be like, kill him? Do what you gotta do, because at the end of the day,
It's no power.
it's
But it's
no
like,
power
it's crazy though, because it's like love be the power and the weakness at the same time.
at the same time.
At the same time.
Because why else would you attack somebody I love?
Yeah.
Because you don't have love.
Because you don't care.
know
But that's why you are able to be so powerful in your evilness.
Yes.
Because it's like you don't have anything to lose.
You don't have it.
You don't have anything to lose.
And so you go against, so even with dating and just relationship building, you are going to go to somebody that you know got something that you don't have and fuck with them and mess them up and tear them up. And that to me is the evil in being mean, is that you know what this means to this person and you know the attachment. But the flip side of it is only be attached to your purpose.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have children.
Or just accepting that what is because it needs to be.
It needs to be. Like, I don't have kids, so I can't comment on if I was Ant-Man, would I do that? But I will say that at the age I'm at,
I can't imagine it.
Well, no, but at the age I'm at, I've developed this mindset that if I am in a position of Ant-Man, where I'm in this quantum realm and I got to save a lot of people, and my child so happens to be in this position, and it's between this and me, where I'm at now, you're going to have to take my child out, bro.
In a way.
It's right.
But I can't do it.
But see what happens though? You can't do it. But then what happens now though? There's all these other things that's fucking with us, right? And I'm like, Ant-Man still won at the end of the day, right? Because that drive is there. But what happens? One thing I learned too in the Bible, Jesus was preaching.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not everybody believed in the Bible. This is just the passage I like. His mom and his brother came to see him, and they like, "Yo, Jesus." I'm assuming he ain't see his mom in a little minute. And he's talking and they tell him, yo, your people's outside. He said this, and it made me look at music different. He said, those that believe in what I'm doing is my mother, cousin, and brother. And I was like, that's such an asshole statement, but what is he saying?
I mean, that's true though. The people who believe in you are family. They're
family. That he did. He's like, I'm not about to stop what I'm doing to go see them.
Yeah.
But you know what that taught me too? When you're in the moment, that attachment to his mother was a distraction.
Oh, it's always a distraction.
So like, yo, your mom is outside.
It's scary like that because it's always a distraction.
It was a distraction. So Jesus was like, don't stop me from doing this. But he wasn't mean about it. He redirected the purpose, saying, hey, everyone in here is my family, because what I'm doing is purposeful. I'm not going to stop. So you got to be careful with what you're doing and what you are stopping to do. Like, oh, should you go do this? No, what's your purpose? People think it's crazy, but I'm like, is it crazy if your purpose, because what is death? No one knows what death is, right? We don't know why we're going to die. We don't know how we're going to die. But I think that social media and all this other stuff is created. People think it's created to distract us from, I think it's created to distract most human beings from their purpose.
Yeah.
What is your purpose? Why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you on social media? Like me and you, and through the lens, we're on social media doing what? The purpose thing.
Right. Trying to promote the actual in life.
But look at the people that don't have that purpose reaction.
Well, this social media shit really just enables the people that can't really do anything with themselves in real life to pretend that they are.
To pretend that they
Because if I don't know you from shit, you could get yourself 100,000 followers and get you a photographer, some selfie lights or whatever, get some good footage of yourself, whatever, and be living in a fucking box in the middle of some raggedy ass shit with no purpose, no movement, no nothing, but you preaching to everybody every day on your shit. Like, you don't really know anything about anyone anymore. And honestly, a lot of people, like, it's all for something other than just like to be
the purpose.
Yeah.
Like what is your purpose of creating? Like what do you think your purpose? Well, what do you know your purpose is of being this artist? Because you have a very soulful vibe. But what do you, when you're on that stage and when you're making your decisions, What do you know your purpose is as an artist? Because it's not aligned with no bullshit. Every purpose is aligned with the higher.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your higher meaning of being this artist?
Truthfully, I feel like I'm still trying to like fully grasp how powerful I am.
You know how you do that?
I know how?
Trust a person. Well, trust yourself to know that you're going to attract people that knows that about you.
Yeah.
Right? So like people know that, right? Because I didn't know how good I was. Because my boy with this podcast, I mean, he'll tell you, this podcast, I wasn't going to do this, but my homeboy Aaron is like, yo, Q, you are a mogul. He every fucking day. I'm like, man, you get on my nerves. Stop calling my phone. Talk about this. But he's your emoji. He's like, you do a podcast. You cooking your food. You an artist. You making beats. And I'm sitting back like, and he kept talking about it so much that next thing you know, we paying dues now.
Yeah.
And now I'm like,
that's what it is though. And sometimes though you need that because
you don't
have
know
all these.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Or like my problem is like I'll have days where like I get a million things done. And then days where I wake up and just feel like I just cannot function, even though I have 15 other ideas that I want to get done. Like it just like ends up kind of being like, I feel like I'm my biggest hater. I'm the only hater I listen to be real. Like
you break it down.
I criticize myself so much just because I know that like I'm capable of like doing like really good things.
So you
really
criticize yourself, or you
I think that I don't think I live up to my potential.
What is your potential? Is it limitless? Or are you now putting limits on your potential?
No, I genuinely think that like if I just stopped being dramatic and just like overthinking and like doubting the fuck out of myself all the time, like I really feel like I'll be a legend.
What is a legend to you? And I think that's the tricky part.
Like a mark in history, like a mark in history in music. And
so what mark would you want to leave? In what area?
I feel like all of it. Like just like the stigma behind everything is so whack. And I think that like I cross a lot of lines just like
musically wise you do.
Like music wise I do.
Yeah.
Personality wise I do.
Yeah. I think that's why we
like,
do. Yeah.
Ethnically I do. Culturally I do. Like just like everything. Like I'm just like a mind fuck on all levels.
Yeah.
But I'm so genuine. You know what I mean? I'm so genuine. And I think that's why like it's gonna take a little minute for me to get out there the way I feel like I deserve. But I feel like once it's out there, like it's up.
I put a status up and I said, what did I say? Let me read it. I actually wrote it not too long ago. And it was really deep because you just said something that made me want to comment on that. And I literally said, what the hell is it? I said, we attract everything to evolve. So this moment we're in is for evolution purpose. I said, but habits create trust issues.
Yes.
So the habits I think a lot of habits are nurtured in us. People say you create habits. I'm like, can you create anything if you're from somewhere?
You can.
How? I think this is what I think. I think you can create the escape of accepting that habit. I don't think you can create the habit in itself. I think you can create the escape in it. So like something in us made us do this. The music, the habit, because habits are real, right? How do you break this habit? Through evolution, through the attraction of people. But what happens is we create these escapes. Mm-hmm. I think we create the escape of it. But there's something that somebody put in us. And I think once we all can connect and realize that there's something wrong with all of us because something else did it. So I really can't get too mad at you. That's why I like, in a sense, the justice system is not fair, but the ideal of it does make sense. Mm-hmm. You're innocent until proven guilty. Why? Because there's something that makes sense to why you did this.
But that doesn't even work.
Well,
because if you really think about
in
it,
the actual system,
technically speaking, one piece of probable cause or reasonable doubt or whatever the
racism,
fuck, you know what I mean? One little piece of reasonable doubt. One person sitting there like, you know, it could be another reason why he did this.
But it's still a reason, or whatever.
That's technically supposed to be enough to get a motherfucker off. That doesn't happen like that.
But like,
that never happens like that for real.
But should a person get off that really did it though? Because
I mean, a person that got off should. Well, but it depends on why you did it. Why did you do it?
And see, what I'm going to with this is that I don't, you know, in other words, like we're all doing stuff for some particular reason, but I think that reason was inputted into us. I don't think nobody just wakes up a serial killer. Something happened to that. Like, that's why I like that Jeffrey Dahmer joint. Because
it's implanted. But that's implanted. What is sad and scary about all of it is that, like, it's all a line, but it's like, who started the line? You know what I mean? Like, when you talk about people who are in abusive situations, like, normally, like, they were raised in abusive households or, like, you know what I mean? And then, like, their parents are, you know, in abusive situations because they were in abusive households, and their parents, and you know what I mean? And it carries on and on and on and on, but it's like, and it's fucked up, but it's like, who started the shit and who decides to stop carrying it on? Like, who decides that it just, like,
I feel like, and that's why I feel like the law of attraction decides that. Who, like, what you attract decides that. Like,
but what you attract is what you know, typically.
No,
so at some
that's
point,
what I'm saying. I feel
you
like
have to decide that what you know is not what you want.
Right, but I feel that the attraction sometimes is unknown. Like, the way we met was crazy.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, so the law of attraction, something wanted me to hit you up. Micah made me hit up Deuce all the time. Yeah. I love Micah consistency. I was lazy. I tell everybody, Micah revved me up to this point. Yeah. But before I got to this point, Micah didn't want to do this. Yeah. I made him get up and I made him do it, but I didn't realize that I planted that seed for him to come back and water me. Mm-hmm. That's the crazy part, right? So with that being said.
Yeah, I think on your note, it's like, sometimes you attract what you need. Or sometimes when you, not even necessarily attract, sometimes things find you that need to find you in but you gotta be of space. Yeah, you have to be open space. To it.
Yeah, that's why I said the escape is what we create. Because if you keep escaping, everything's going to keep coming. Mm-hmm. Love is everlasting. Love will never end. Meaning, if love loves you, yeah, you don't need nobody to love you. Love itself loves you. So what happens is the universe is on a love balance, right? So what happens is no matter what you go through, there's opportunities because of love that will present itself. But your decision to escape certain things will create the reality that you might think this is bullshit. Because again, escape is not drugs. It can be porn. It can be drugs. It could be your obsession. To me, escape is the obsession of wanting pleasure. Because one who loves pleasure will never be pleased, right? Mm-hmm. So y'all, what happened is the camera got the words got fucked up. So that's why we coming on some like, what the fuck? But no, but in reality, just to end the show with the beautiful, talented Alicia Marie, what would you leave any 12-year-old that want to do what you do, that may be going through something eerie similar, because that's what this show is about, that we are connected, and that they're suffering, who want to give up? What would you pass to them at 29 all the way down to 12 right now? What would you nothing cliche like don't give up, but I mean, deep.
You just have to like trust yourself. Like, once you really like get to a point of, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like every kid has this point where like you really know, like, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. Yeah. This is like what I love, like, and it's really like when you start presenting it to other people that you start doubting it, or you know what I mean, start feeling like maybe it's not realistic or whatever. But whatever you do that makes you feel settled,
AKA purpose.
Yeah,
I like that. Do that.
Do it.
Do that. And with that,
like, even if everybody thinks you're crazy.
Yes.
Wait, if you feel like, you know what I mean? If people think,
I like
you know
that
what
when
I mean?
people think you're crazy.
Because people will be like, oh, like, you'll never make money off of that. Like, do you know how rare it is that people will whatever, like, people start speaking fear into your shit because it's harder to do great shit. You know what I mean?
I'll say, even if you don't make money, right? Even if the money doesn't come, if you feel the need to do it because you know that it's going to change the world in a position to make it higher, go do that. Because I always ask students, what is something that you can do for the rest of your life if you never made money and you'll be happy? So the money is going to come. I don't want y'all to be like, what? I don't do that. The money will come. But I can tell you this right now. This is a living room in a house that I'm renting, right? And I'm 35. I have these challenges all the time. Like, should I stop doing this? Should I just go to school? Like, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. And I'm not trying to be bigger than Kanye. I'm just trying to make it on the 100th part of the Billboard. Y'all hear me? Like, fuck number one. If I can get to 100, we partying like we damn number one. Mm-hmm. So keep going. Don't ever put money into this. Not saying she's saying that, but even what she's saying is, if you feel it, go, right? Go there. And don't be ashamed of the pleasure note that you may be abusing, right? Just be open and be around people that you can be super transparent with, because that's the key to it. With that being said, thank you, Alicia.
Thank you
for coming to Aquarius Convos.
This is lit.
And hey, on some real note, man, hey, y'all go hug somebody that you really hate and call that but call that person that you know you love, and let them know you love them, because you don't know when the next time you'll see them. All right. So on that note, we out, Aquarius Convos.